Folks, it's official as a massive new report has just dropped revealing the truth behind the future of Aaron Rodgers. And for the first time, we now know who the Steelers aren't going to be bringing back next season. And this changes the landscape of the rest of their offseason plans. And folks, things just completely change. But not only that, we have a ton of other updates surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers' next head coaching job. A ton of things to go over today. You're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of the video. But folks, this is some breaking news, and it is official surrounding Aaron Rodgers leaving Pittsburgh. And we all kind of expected this, but maybe not so soon, because now the Steelers are forced into a very, I don't want to say difficult, but a very interesting decision as they hire their next head coach and find out about their next quarterback. But let's dive right into it. You can see here just moments ago, breaking the quarterback Aaron Rodgers is not expected to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers per Ian Rappaport. So this here is very, very notable because, again, once Mike Tomlin left, it was kind of seen as an inevitable that he was going to be gone as well. But I thought there was going to be at least a little bit more, time, maybe a little more thought behind it. We saw some podcasts happen throughout the year where DK Metcalf, I believe it was, hinted at Aaron Rodgers coming back. He said maybe, and there were some details surrounding this that is very, very interesting that I'll dive into in a minute. But before we get into it, a quick reminder: this video is brought to you by Gosse, and if you download it using the link below and enter code DIGESTNFL, you get $20 and you trade your first 100. And Gosse is the largest prediction market in the United States, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, elections, news, and pretty much everything. And whether you're in California, Texas, or anywhere else across the country, Gosse is live in all 50 states. And for us sports fans, you can trade on a lot of different things. You can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. And speaking of that regulated market, you can trade on who you believe the Steelers' next head coach will be. Chris Shula is up to 44%. So if you trade $100 and Chris Shula ends up being the Steelers' next head coach, you will win $233 and a 43 implied percent chance. So folks, it is genuinely a smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. So make sure to download Gosse with the link in the description, and don't forget to use code DIGESTNFL to get your $20 bonus. And thank you once again to Gosse for sponsoring this video. Back to the news. Aaron Rodgers is out of Pittsburgh. Now, reports started to fly as to, the reason why. And folks, it ended up being, according to Ian Rappaport, quite frankly, as simple as, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is gone. The main reason that Aaron Rodgers joined Pittsburgh in the first place was Mike Tomlin. And now that he has left, Rodgers has no reason really to return to Pittsburgh. Of course, I'm sure he's developed a lot of relationships there, but it doesn't really make sense. And I don't think a ton of new head coaches, whether they're first-time head coaches or not, the one who ends up joining Pittsburgh would want to bring, Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy to say. I'm not saying that they wouldn't want to bring Aaron Rodgers on board because he's one of the best players to ever live. But I think, especially for a head coach taking on, a longer-term contract, they'd probably prefer to pick out their quarterback themselves. And again, there's a lot of, shout out to Gosse for sponsoring this one, there's a lot of available head coaches. Now, let's look at Aaron Rodgers' stats this year. You can look, he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He finished 10-6 with 3,300 yards. Now, he has had a steady decline over the past few years, of course, dating back to his time with the Jets, but he is still a very good quarterback. It's just that his body can't keep up with his mind. We saw so many times where he was just an unbelievable football mind for the Steelers, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to obviously keep up with his legs. Taking sacks, things like that. I don't want to hit him, Aaron Rodgers. It was a fantastic run. I'm glad he gave Pittsburgh a chance. I'm glad Pittsburgh gave him a chance ultimately, even though it didn't end in a playoff win. It's time to turn the new chapter, and I think if Mike Tomlin was returning, they'd probably give it another go, right? I think that would have happened. Now, Aaron Rodgers isn't closing the door on a return to the NFL necessarily. That's at this point unknown, but what is known is that it won't be with the Pittsburgh Steelers if he does return, and if he doesn't return, of course, he'll enter retirement. So let us know down below, or rather let me know down below what your thoughts are on this, because at this point, I'm kind of happy that this came out early, because you can now pivot to, there's a lot of different options here. There's a lot of different head coaches coming. And, of course, this is the Steelers depth chart. Probably the last time I'll take a screenshot of it with Aaron Rodgers as QB. Their number one QB now is Mason Rudolph, followed by Will Heyward. So will they run Mason Rudolph next year? Will they sign him into an extension? Doubt it. Will Heyward, will they try to give him a chance? They're, late round draft pick. I think this is a weak quarterback class, and each day, more quarterbacks, it seems like more and more quarterbacks are just opting to go back to college and opting out with the money that they're getting paid there now. So it's going to be interesting because you also don't have a crazy wide receiver core. You have DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. If he returns, of course, recently signed Cole Burgess, John Reese Plumlee. It is going to be, obviously Max Hillman as well, and you sign a bunch of O-liners like Doug Nestor. they're going to make some big moves, right? And I think that the signings that they made over the past couple of days, the 13 guys, the Doug Nesters of the world, the Cole Burgesses, are just precursors to bigger moves. But let me know down below, because it is they have to figure out something, and maybe they go out and make a trade. Maybe they do something else. I'll have a video covering that either later tonight or tomorrow. Very interesting trade surrounding a player that I'm sure a lot of you guys don't want, but the rumors are flying, and it is surrounding a quarterback in Kyler Murray. But stay tuned for that. Let's dive right into some other things. Now, again, I covered it in yesterday's video. I just want to bring it back again. There's a lot of steam picking up for Klay Kubiak going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, of course, a lot of fans want his brother Clint Kubiak, but Klay Kubiak has obviously been getting a lot of praise lately. Now, of course, the Niners play tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see what happens with that. That'll probably pick up depending on if they win or lose. But Jesse Minter's a guy that hasn't really been has recently talked about. You can see here, Derwin James, he endorses Jesse Minter as an alpha head coach candidate. So it is, obviously the Steelers are involved in him. He clearly has the respect of not his teammates, but of course the players that he coaches. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens between him, of course, what happens between Klay Kubiak following the big praise that Kyle Shanahan gave, and of course, Chris Shula and others, because Chris Shula and Nathan Shielhaas are kind of my number one guys. A dream world, you get Shula as the head coach, and you get Nathan Shielhaas as the OC. That would be absolutely perfect. You figure out your defensive coordinator. Imagine you get all three of these guys. You get Brian Flores as a DC. Doubt that would happen, because he could probably get a head coaching job elsewhere, but they have a very good pool. All things considered, it was a very good year for Mike Tomlin, who's not going to have a press conference, to kind of step down, because there's so many great coaches available, and Art Rooney has full trust in Omar Khan. So you could see this here. Now, this is not just for head coaching positions, but this is also for making moves going forward, picking the next quarterback, picking the next trade target. That has been the blueprint that worked for 55 years, so it might be hard for Art to step back from what has worked. However, I think Omar has a lot to say in this, or will have a lot to say in this. And what we've learned is that Art trusts him, and he pretty much has put him in charge of the organization, and has changed the organization a lot, because it is true. I mean, as much as people hate Omar Khan, things are different now with, of course, Art Rooney II, of course, taking it over from his father. But you can see here, he's more forthcoming, more forward-thinking. That's Omar. He really, really trusts Omar. And Omar's been by his side for 25 years now. He really values and trusts his opinion. So whether that's a good thing or not, I'll let you guys decide, because at the end of the day, if you guys don't like Omar Khan, that's probably a bad piece of information. If you guys do like Omar Khan, then of course you're probably happy about that. But what we do know for sure is that the Steelers have a lot of decisions to make, including the potential adjustment here to find a new special teams coordinator, because a long time, 13 years I believe it is, for Danny Smith. He is potentially heading elsewhere to the Bucs, and he is crucial, right? Out of all the coaches people want gone, Arthur Smith, Terrell Austin, Danny Smith's not one of them. He's been a consistent presence of the organization and has produced successful special teams units. Besides Caleb's gaff this year and Gunnar O's tenure, Smith has been great, and it's true, right? And whether you want to, I'm sure Ben Skronik and other guys who are on that special team want to bring him back. I'm sure they'll have an input in that. But folks, that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Cheers.